Three, two, one. Hello, everybody. This is Zach.
Hi, I'm Joe.
Welcome to the 10th episode.
Welcome. Numero 10.
Today we are going to be just chatting. Got a few things to talk about. Mostly just random bullshit. So
Right? Just shooting the shit.
better queue up something else to watch because it might get boring, folks. No, I'm just kidding.
Absolutely not. We could tell some interesting stories.
Yeah.
We got some fun stuff.
You'll just have to tell us in the comments because I now have to find all 8 of you. None of you commented last episode.
He will find
I'm
you.
going to find all of you.
Oh, no, he will track your IP addresses.
Yep, already done.
He can do that.
You're already in a black book. Just got to start crossing them off.
Right. 24.196835.24-67.
Too many digits, but close.
I know. I know.
Awesome.
It's what, like 10? An IP address?
Could be up to 12.
Because it's 22.
Could be as max as 3 digits 4 times.
Yeah. See?
There you go.
He'll get you.
Could be as simple as 4 digits too.
Either way, he'll find you.
Yes, I got you. Awesome.
So,
I was talking to Megan today, and I basically said to her that I think we need to find a better theme, like a better a main subject. Like, for instance, so we have people on YouTube who do movie reviews based around watching a movie. You watch a movie, then you give your reviews, critique it. That's so easy to make content for. There's no need for anyone to, gather information or ever be on the same page. Just watch the movie and go there.
yeah.
So that makes easy sense. What is a lateral theme for us?
TV shows.
But like that. So as much as that was my example, that's not what I'm trying to go
I know.
towards. I'm still thinking like even the family route doesn't seem as much as like enjoyable content for third party people.
Yeah.
Like it's not like we are the Kardashians, and unless we're going to start
Yeah.
recording our everyday interactions with our family, which granted would be a killer hit show.
Right. Facts.
There's no way to do it. So I was just thinking about like other arching themes. Now, what we could do.
Well, so I've thought about this. Hold on, sorry, I don't mean to cut you off. I've thought about this, and I keep thinking about this. And so other people, they can, like you said, the movies. What are we good at? What are we good at? It's really loose that way.
You got to tighten it.
I know that was
So
me.
tighten it.
That was me
So
tightening it.
rotate it to tighten it so it's locked, like you had it before.
This one?
No, the mic itself. Like rotate it to where you had it before so it's locked. Yep, tighter. Now turn this loose and then go back without adjusting the actual tightness of that. I'll have to get some wrenches down here so we can just really fucking lock that in. Because mine does it all the time. But just keeping that
There
in
we
front
go.
of you at this like perfect,
Yeah.
4-finger distance is going to be huge. So part of me wants to dive hardcore into golf.
I knew that was coming.
So bad. It's an itch. It's an addiction. Just like everything else I do, going hardcore. But looking up today, the number 1 golf tournament paid out average $3.3 million
That's not that much money.
to play a few rounds of golf and be good and make it. That's one game.
Oh, you mean
Like one tournament.
like playing?
Yeah. So let's not. So don't think of it as in like, oh, I played a game and I won. It's I played a bracket tournament, like you'd
Yeah.
expect a basketball tournament to go down.
I know how bracket tournaments
Yep,
work.
exactly.
Remember, I'm the athlete here.
Yeah, so even with like softball and you're traveling,
I
like
was gonna
very
say.
similar, right?
There are a lot of bracket tournaments over my ears.
So you do that, and then imagine in your case, it's just you and maybe sometimes there's a group of golfers, sometimes there's like 2 like pairs that
Yeah.
will go and do it. Even then, though, taking home $1.5 million between 2 people just for playing and winning one tournament, and there's more than one tournament a year. It's pretty good. The average pool is around $9 million per tournament.
So I've actually never played golf in my life.
So I was talking to Megan today, and what I find so amazing about it is it's a game that literally relies on you hitting a ball into a hole. There's no other, like, as much as
Basketball. That's shooting a ball into a hole.
Yes, but like it has to do like I compare it more to like hockey. Like there's 1,000 ways for that puck to go when you slap it.
Have you ever watched a hockey game in your life?
They're accurate as fuck, but it's not like
That wasn't my question.
I've watched a few games. Yeah.
Okay, it was just a general
Yeah,
question.
I have. We've been to a Bruins games before. Back in my young days. Yeah.
When the hell have you ever been to a Bruins game?
So
Hold on, this is the first I'm hearing about it.
you remember Miss Luce?
Yeah.
So when Miss Luce had fully adopted Eric,
Yeah.
she, not her, but whatever her husband's name was, brought us out to a Bruins game.
No shit.
And then Dad brought him out to a dirt biking event or like a monster truck.
I
thing.
remember.
Yeah,
that. I don't.
we like flopped.
I can't believe. I wish I would have known.
Yeah, and then like I've seen another one. I think with like Mom or Becky or like there was another like Mead thing that they went out to and
Maybe a Falcons game.
Yeah, I think so. Falcon, exactly. Yeah. So, but it's like the skill to be able to take a ball and object and hit it with another object and get it to go where you want to go every time. Not easy.
Yeah.
Not easy. And then put into fact that half the time when you're hitting golf, you're hitting the dirt, which depending on where you're playing is a whole different experience.
Yeah.
Like when I went and played this Sunday, the ground right now is terrible in Connecticut. New England frozen ground, right? So it's been a little warm.
Oh my god.
So it's getting muddy.
Can I just say something? I'm sorry. Can you remind me of something later?
No, you already interrupted. You're good.
No, but can you remind me of something while I'm thinking about it?
Maybe.
I need to purchase myself some Bluetooth wireless headphones like these. I need your help finding a good pair.
Okay.
I keep forgetting to text you all week. I've been trying. I'm sorry to interrupt the podcast like that, but I just looked at your head.
Terrible.
I know. I just looked at your head and I was like, it popped in mine.
All right, folks. Well, there's the end of the podcast. Have a good night.
But listen, blame the neuropathy. I forget things quickly.
You could have just like wrote it down on your phone while I kept talking, and
I could have. I'm sorry. I just looked at you and
now I'm gonna steal this.
That's fine. Do you want a different one?
No, this is good.
That's the daytime one. I can give you the nighttime one.
No, this is good for me.
Okay.
But so I think with golf in general, we could do a spin to be more like a Bob Does Sports or a Good, a more not family friendly, but more entertainment based golf event. So like Good and Bob Does Sports just got sponsored by Callaway. All new clubs, brought them out to meet the whole group. They get access to all the players on their roster, and it's all because they, in the modern day of influencers, a YouTube influencer or any type of social media influencer can go just as far, if not farther, than a professional athlete.
I mean, yeah.
So in certain circumstances, they're getting more eyes from social media people.
I mean, absolutely. Have you heard of like Isaac Rochelle and his wife?
No.
So his wife, Allison Cooch, she is like a
Miss Cooch?
What? She's like, so her husband is a professional football player, right? And she is just pretty much professional influencer. And she makes more than he does. And like, she jokes about being like, some of her content, like jokes about like her being like a gold digging, like basic NFL wife. And like, really, she makes, you know what I mean? Because on the side, not only does she do like influencing and like
sponsorships are huge.
Well, and she does a lot with Airbnb. So she actually used her money, reinvested it, got these houses, and now she just like that's her little
makes
side
money
hustle.
off Airbnb arbitrage.
Correct.
Yeah, arbitrage is a huge thing in the market that anybody can take advantage of. It's just you gotta find it.
Right.
But I think we could do a full turn, a full pivot. Pages of New England still being an LLC above par for Poppy, and we just do a hardcore, just go golf. We get.
I think golf skirts are cute, so I'm in.
I'm just trying to think though, like.
And I love to drive a golf cart.
So Megan actually filmed this, not the entire, but the back 9 of the course, and it is a lot more difficult than you would think to get the perfect shot, one that's even worth showing. Super difficult.
Yeah.
And then like I smashed my iPhone. Where is it? It's
his brand new iPhone, ladies and gentlemen.
Apple Care Plus. So
aren't you glad you got that?
Oh, I'm so glad. So glad. So the front's actually perfect. It's the back that got destroyed. And it's because it hit on the side. It hit directly, like direct impact on the side. But I had it on the tripod, and I lifted my hand up. Oh, nothing. I got you beat. Just destroyed.
I mean, I'm just saying, look at my front's completely clean and my back is like, but my cameras are shattered too. Let's see it.
So here's the front, right? Very clean.
Oh, damn. At least all three of your cameras are still intact.
So I have temper-proof glass on both the front and the lenses. But if you look at it actually broke the glass base, but it didn't break any of the lenses. And be careful, it's really sharp. There's a lot of pieces on there that are still poking out.
Jesus, Zachary.
So it fell like boom, boom on the angles, and it just top left angle, top right angle. And it was in the tripod, and it just got knocked out the tripod as we were in the cart. Phone went down. You know? So I think I'm definitely gonna use my Apple Care Plus to get a new phone, and it's only $99 to get it replaced, because I'm trying to determine how much internally might be fucked up too from a large drop like that.
Yeah.
And whether my camera's gonna be messed up, if it's not gonna focus right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, like when I dropped my phone.
Go get the gold one.
Yeah, when I dropped my phone, I was thinking like similar, like, oh, again, unlike you, I didn't think about initially the internal part of it. I was like, oh, it's just like the back part, like it's completely fine. And again, this was like a new phone when I got it, and I had broken it fairly early into getting it, which was really surprising because I haven't broken an iPhone in a very long time. And so I was like, oh, whatever. And ever since then, like certain features just run so slow, and I'm just like, oh. But I'm too lazy to go to the Apple store.
There's one right in Manchester.
You want to take a road trip? We can go together.
Yeah, we can.
Because, you can go right into the store and they can just give you.
So I'm actually, if you have the support app.
I do. I honestly make appointments all the time and I cancel them.
Yeah. So I think I just might make the appointment. I mean, so $30 to replace any front or back glass.
Yeah.
For $60 more to swap it out.
I was going to say, I would just pay and get the new phone.
Pay $99, call it a day. Get a brand new device.
So do you want to make an appointment? We can do it together. We can film it.
See, that's the other problem. I'm not ready to do that. I'm not ready to be the guy in public with the selfie stick.
I'm not going to lie. So today when I was at the IV station, I was trying to take a Snapchat, and there was like
people around you.
There was two people around me, and one of them was like a teenage girl. So clearly, like, she wasn't going to mind. The girl didn't even look up from her phone, period. So like, I don't even think she would have noticed. And same with like her dad. He didn't look up from his, like, I don't think either one of them, but I still felt so, even when they left, I tried to retake the picture and I still felt so awkward. I was like, and this is so weird. Like, how do people like willy-nilly do this?
So
like,
my problem with it is to be very clear, it's not doing it. The act itself doesn't bother me. It's the fact that like we're not doing it well.
Well, and see, that's not but so my thing isn't like doing it. I don't mind doing it. Like, that part doesn't. But like, how can you live your life like that? Like, that's, and again, I understand some people can, but like, I can honestly say that I have lived a very picture-worthy life, and there are hardly any pictures to prove that. Why? Because I'm living in the moment. I'm taking in those memories. I'm looking around me. I'm taking in the art. The smells. Like, I'm using all my senses. I'm not trying to, like, I don't want to do that, like, that's my thing. It's not.
Yeah, but it also doesn't take long to go snap.
I know, but that I can't
especially if you just put it on video. You're just like recording and you're doing your shit anyways.
I know,
but like, I guess the way I look at it is, imagine the foreigner in fucking Mexico, like when we went on our honeymoon, with a GoPro stick in the water being like, look at us swimming with fishes, and the locals are like, those fish are there every day,
right?
Versus walking into a mall with a guy on a camera on his shoulder and a light attached, and you got a mic, you're mic'd up, and you're like, confidence is a key because you have like the whole silhouette.
Yeah. When
you're just winging it with a selfie stick and an iPhone, it's a lot more like degrading, I think.
Yeah.
Like, in a certain aspect, you're not, and not to say people who do that are degrading. It's a stepping stone thing. People who grind at it are always going to work out to be the best because they started that way.
It's really what you put into it, in a sense.
It is. I have a, like, not to put myself on like a moral or ethical high road, but like, I would never work at a fast food restaurant. I wouldn't lower myself to a standard that point. Like, I would just never try and put myself there.
Yeah.
I've been there before. I know it's not for me, and I put that as my do not want to be there.
I completely agree with you on
Right?
that one.
We need those workers, and I go and support them all the time when
And
I
it's
buy their
like,
food.
and here's the thing, like, because I will say this, like, working in the restaurant industry, I have seen some, and good, like, good for them because that's what they needed, you know? But I have seen some people who leave serving because the money is so, once at post COVID, McDonald's, all those places, the minimum, no matter where you were, especially in Georgia, no matter where you were, the minimum was $15 an hour, and that's stability. So I saw a lot of people, like, leave the restaurant industry and go work at those places because they have kids or whatever it may be, and again, good for them, but I completely agree with you. I could not do that.
Yeah. I don't know what it is. I just don't hold that as an option.
Yeah.
But, in that same aspect, if I had to do a day in the life while I worked at McDonald's for 30 days and I got permission from store management to have a camera follow me, I would fucking, like, big dick the shit out of that job. Like, I would run it. Only because I had the confidence to realize that it's a 30-day thing. I'm doing it for the content.
Yeah.
Like, that isn't my problem, but I couldn't do that while I'm just sitting there in the back with my phone being like, hey, guys, here's my third day vlogging with my iPhone in the back. Oh, really got to go get this beef grease. Like, I wouldn't do that shit. Like, it had to be full bore camera crew for me to feel confident enough to actually do that.
I could see that, yeah. I feel that.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I just think that's just one of the ways I've set myself up to be.
Yeah. I don't know. For me, it's like I could start it and again, I mean, there's been times where, like, me and a couple of my friends, we actually, like, videoed, like, this was before all this really became a thing, back when, like, people did, like, the Real World, and it was all clearly so poorly done. But, like, we created, like, our little pilot, and we have an actual, like, I have multiple DVDs of, like, my lives in pilots. So I have, like, one with the boys, and then I have one from, like, with my East Lyme kids, my Niantic kids, and, like, the dumbass shit that we did. And, like, me, Alyssa, and Cassie just driving down the road being silly and then going in through the woods.
That would be hilarious, bloopers.
No, there was, like, a whole, like, 60-minute, like, I put a whole movie together. Like, I downloaded, like, it's not that I can't do it, but it's just I'm too much of a free spirit, I just want to.
Well, so kind of to your point earlier,
like, I can't justify spending that much time recording. Like, I want to be living.
Yeah, to that exact point.
But
like,
if I had somebody else doing it for me, I wouldn't
it's
care.
way different.
Yeah, go ahead, follow me around. Like, I don't.
Yeah, I agree. Like, to think back to the days where we went to the quarry.
Yeah, let me live
jump
and you
off
fall.
of it.
Exactly.
Like, that'd be great video. You wouldn't catch me holding my phone as I'm
That's
jumping.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I left my phone in the car,
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even have my phone.
Had to be prepared to run at any moment.
Exactly. You left your ID, your phone, anything that could tie you to that, you left it.
Yep.
You just brought your towel, and it was like the dollar store towel. That way, if you left it, it did not matter.
Yeah, for the
Mom and Dad weren't asking, hey, where's that nice Aruba towel?
Yeah, there you go. For the FYI here for the listeners, where we grew up, there was a local recycling. You call it a dump basically, but it was a recycling. It was a recycling plant because
everyone brought their trash. It was the town dump.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what it is. But they would break things down and recycle the rest of it.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was also a recycling center.
And I guess in that section they had a quarry that they had finished digging, and they just filled it with water, or it filled with water naturally.
With water, yeah. So it was actually the story behind it. They were actually looking to expand the grounds. They wanted to build out. Well, when they were digging, they realized that the grounds weren't safe, and then if you, like, the rumor is if you swim all the way to the bottom of the quarry,
there's still equipment down
there because it got stuck in the foundation because the ground wasn't stable. So, like, a big mudslide, it was like a big rainstorm, whatever happened.
So they just called it.
And then it just filled up over the years.
So there's actually a story of someone dying from the crane.
Yeah,
so
I've heard that.
Greg's dad, like one of the three amigos I grew up with, his friend specifically is the one that dived, and when he jumped off the high rise and he did like the cross the arms type thing, he went too far deep and his leg got stuck, I guess, in he said the top of the crane, and I'm trying to think of the top of the crane. I don't know a spot that my foot would get stuck in.
Right.
Like, unless I literally shot down and like threaded the needle
I was gonna
right
say
through and like hit my groin and twisted, and I'm like, now
stuck.
I've
Yeah.
jerked myself into a position that no way I can get out of.
But
and I'm
at that
straight
point,
freaking
you're in
out.
so much pain. You're probably drowning.
Oh, you've
you know
already
what
let
I mean?
your air
Yeah,
out. You're already
exactly.
screaming. You're done. But I remember hearing that after, like, saying we gone there, and every time after, it always like the Loch Ness monster. It's like
Yeah.
you jump in and it was get the fuck out of here. I don't need no Scooby Doo guy just reaching up and
reaching.
grabbing me down or whatever fucking
Right.
supernatural shit will happen.
Well, see, and that's the part that like I don't know, like and again where we lived, we did this stuff on the regular, you know. And
We also
even,
lived in like a rich, white, predominant town.
yeah.
So like for us, these may seem like crazy shit, but there's a lot of other areas that they did like crazier shit.
Well, and again, it wasn't even just the quarries. Like, how many times have we jumped off Indian Rock? How many times have we jumped off multiple, you know,
Yeah, but that's like
into the ocean?
in the ocean
But
where you take your fancy boat out and
Well,
you pull up or you hike
That's
to
not-
the
I was
spot,
gonna say we hiked to that. I mean, we did take the boat,
which you
more
had
often
to
than not,
illegally
but-
cross property to get there.
No, I knew the owners.
We got yelled at so many
I was gonna
times
say,
for that private lane.
We knew the owners, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, my thing is like, so the town that we lived in, we did this stuff all the time, and yet you would hear these stories. Like, kids would come in on Monday. Again, when you dive down, if you do straight down with your legs, you obviously go in at an angle. The second you hit the water,
Oh, you bend, so you curve right up.
Correct.
Yeah.
Like that was literally diving 101.
But
and
listen,
there are
though,
so many kids
we
who still
learned
like
that
get hurt.
For sure. But I don't think a lot of people learn that in a real world experience. We'd learn that from the boat where they'd pull up on the shallows and it would be like everybody's jumping into the water where you can stand immediately,
Yeah.
and they're yelling at us like, "Oh yeah, backflip off the front of the boat."
Yeah.
You had to instantly hit and curve. Otherwise you were
That's true.
stabbing right in the sand.
I learned how to swim before I knew how to like run.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like we also had parents and grandparents who were not afraid to show us how to basically drown.
Yeah.
They're like, here's the water. This is what it's like going under the water.
Right. Well, and you have to think like, I mean, I learned how to swim from Poppy. It was in the Coast Guard. So like when I learned, like everything he taught me from the rip was like the appropriate way to do things, you know. So he always like that's why everyone would always be like, you can't dive in the shallow end. I'm like, no, you can't dive in the shallow end. I learned how to dive from a professional. Like I can dive in the shallow end just fine. You know what I mean? Or like I used to do the handstands off like the diving board, or like I would go on my hands and then walk back
To
and
it.
then like and everyone would be like, you're gonna hit the wall, and I'm like, no, I'm not. Like
Yeah.
I learned how to do this appropriately, like the correct way, you know.
Yeah.
And I always try and tell people, I'm like, it's all about. It's never about how you. I mean, yes, it's always about. But the second, like that instant you hit the water, like most people panic. Like when they hit the water,
There's a pause. There's a delay.
and it's
You're already
like,
5 feet under.
correct by the time you realize it. But it's like once you're very familiar with the water and you do it enough, you'll know that water it's not scary. It's a safe landing spot. And once you hit it, you go, you know, in whatever direction. Again, when I used to do the handstands, I would push my feet, you know, I would hit the water perfectly. It would be a perfect damn handstand into that water. But the second my toes hit that water, they were bending outwards, so I would go under, you know. So that's what gets me is like we grew up in that area, but people, I would still remember like people coming in on Monday and be like, oh yeah, I broke my hand because I like was diving into the quarries all funky. I'm like, you're an idiot.
Yeah. You know, it also makes me wonder how deep that quarry is and how tall that crane is. Like,
So I'm pretty sure the last time it was recorded, and again, this was
get some LiDAR scans down there.
So this was back when I used to dive in it, so maybe 10 years ago.
Yep.
It was like 150 feet.
Which I don't know, but is that even enough to pull a parachute?
What do you mean?
Like if you're
you mean
sky basing or base
so
jumping.
no, the water is 150 feet deep roughly.
But that would be basically
But
so
the
if you were at the 70 feet tall spot.
No, I think the highest one was 50. No,
was it 50?
I think it was 50.
There was one that was further up by the water tower.
Yeah,
that
so
you had to like really get to. That
I
was
think
super freaking high.
I was gonna say none of us were that dumb. I'm sure you were.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that doesn't surprise me.
So I went with Adrian and Brandon, and I remember it was Adrian who went first.
That
and
doesn't surprise me either.
He still had his shoes on, and I was like,
"Oh my god,
why is that a good idea?" I realized why that was a good idea.
that's a smart idea.
I took my shoes off, and
Oh.
I remember.
Did you cut your feet on the way up?
No, I had my shoes when I got there. It's just when I went to go jump in, I took them off.
I know, but there's no way getting out of the water without cutting your feet without the shoes on.
No, I think where we like, at least the way I remember it, there was like a further spot to the right where the rock actually jetted out.
I
So
mean,
you would swim up to that rock and then get onto it, and it was a little slippery, but then you could like cross. I mean, we also grew up in Mill Road where it was all gravel and we'd ran around barefoot. So
that's
my
true.
feet were calloused up the wazoo,
That's fair. Yeah.
and with gymnastics and everything else, my feet could handle that shit.
Yeah, that's true.
But I just remember like Brandon was just like, you got to do it, and when you start running, you can't stop, because if you stop, you're
that's
going
it.
towards the rocks, not away from the rocks.
Yep.
And I remember it was like just like a fucking movie. You start running, and it's like donut, 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 and then you take that leap, and you're in the air, and your arms are doing the swinging thing, and
Right.
you're like,
Too late.
holy fucking! And then all I remember was
Right.
like cross your arms real quick and get ready to curve.
Yep.
I hit that water, and I realized I did go far, because I remember there's always a point, especially when you go to like a public pool and it's like a 12 feet deep pool,
Yeah.
and you, at least in my mind, it's always got to get to the bottom of the 12 feet.
Yeah.
There's at least one point in that 30 minutes you're at that pool where you are pencil diving directly to the bottom and making sure you can get up, just for your own ego's sake. So, and how you've gone too far is when you're on your last breath trying to get to the top, and you
Right.
can see it, but you're like, holy shit, how far is this infinite hallway?
Right.
And I remember I'm coming up, and I'm like, this is I went way too far.
Right.
I went way too far. And I could have been one of those kids that fucking hit that shit, but just lucky enough, just not deep enough, I guess. And
Well, and again, we were raised to swim. Like, we could hold our breath.
yeah, we swung.
You
swam,
and I
swam,
swam
in the ocean.
And
for
you and
a
I
long time.
always had like competitions when we were like on the boat, and like think about like the rope swing. You know what I
and
mean?
like tubing.
Yeah.
You get thrown out in the rough, and you got to deal with other boats. And
Yeah. We learned how to navigate the high seas at a real young age.
What I find ironic about that whole childhood is they never once let us drive the boat, or like
I
never.
got to drive the boat.
So I agree. I got to steer it once, but there was never the official go get your license and you can drive the boat.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody actually have their boater's license.
Oh God, I never even thought about that.
I was gonna say, did any of them actually have it?
I bet
think
Matt
I was
did.
gonna say, I think Matt was the only one, but Dad, I don't think ever had it.
Owned a boat, but no license to do it.
I
That
don't think
doesn't
Jimmy
surprise me.
never. I don't think Jimmy ever had
What a
it.
hypocrite! And he's getting mad at me for not having my motorcycle's
Right.
license.
I'll say I don't think he ever had. No, because I'm pretty sure he didn't, because there was a running joke that Grammy had it and he didn't, because when Grammy got her boat, dumb story, but when she
And
got
someone bought Grammy a boat.
right, and yeah, she went and got hers, so there was like a running joke that she had her boat license and Dad didn't.
Wow. I know when we were in Pine Grove, the Powers,
Mm-hmm.
Mark, he went and got his captain's license or whatever,
Yeah.
and I remember being like, "Wow, this is so official," But
Yeah. I'll say all my friends had them. Like I never needed.
it was
to.
never difficult. It was
Yeah.
one of the easier things to obtain,
And it was something that we probably could have gone without even
Oh, yeah.
studying. You
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like
just because we lived it.
yeah.
And like I took the, 'cause especially in Pine Grove, they did that seasonal sailing camp,
Yeah.
and I took that, and sailing was freaking like easy. I got that shit right away, and they were small little like 2 people boats.
You're right.
Um,
I miss the I miss living by the water.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm very thankful. I'm only like 45 minutes away from it, so
It's different though to be able to just be like, oh
Right.
wow, it's 75 degrees out right now.
Let me
I'm
just
going to
step out
walk
to
30
my
minutes to the, or no, 30
seconds. I was
30
gonna
feet to the
say,
beach. Yeah, not 30 minutes.
It was literally our backyard.
Yeah. 2 roads over. We drove down there, me and Megan, last weekend or this weekend.
I was in Old Saybrook on
Saturday?
Sunday. Went to my fave Pizza Works, and I went to Skipper's. I got seafood, and I got my Sheila's favorite.
Nice.
You know, oh God, I love it down there.
What else? What else has been going on?
I don't even know. Just my aspect. I've been working so damn much. Which I want to start recording some of my interactions at work, and we can just like.
I don't think you can do that. I
What?
mean, you have to get permission.
I
Sorry.
already did.
But from the people you record as well, not just the
No,
work.
I want to record like my side of it.
Oh.
I can record their voice. I just can't record them.
Yeah, you could like create your own little YouTube. Call it like
Well, so there's actually this bartender that I follow in Tennessee. I absolutely love her. She can open like 8 beer bottles at like one time. Her name's like Gemma or Jemima or something like that. But she's like an Amish bartender. Like she grew up Amish.
You should create a YouTube channel called Tapping Into the Room.
Nice.
Get it?
I do.
And then what you'll do is you could just put like a camera, and you could just live stream it and do stuff.
Yeah. That's
And when you're
true.
free, you could answer questions or like have a good time. And then they could like ask you to make a drink, and maybe you could get like people at the bar to participate. It's like, hey, you want a random drink from a viewer?
That's true.
And then like they all decide on a drink, and they make a drink, and they see if this guy likes it, and if they win, then chat gets like a bonus point, and after the
That's
month,
a-
if they get a bonus point, they
That's not a bad idea.
you do something crazy for them. But if you do it like on live on Twitch or something like that, you can get like viewers consistently who will just like to watch you. One, you're female, so people watch you. Like female streamers are just in the most grossest way possible overly watched because of like sexism, and
Yeah.
just young guys will watch fucking girls
Pervs.
yes, literally, it's the easiest way to put it. And then from that point on, you grow. People donate while you're viewing. Some people like, oh, you did great tonight. Here's $1,000 tip, and boom, $1,000 is your buck right there. Done.
What is this called?
Live streaming.
No, I mean the app.
So there's Twitch.
I know what live streaming is.
You can do it on Twitch, YouTube, Rumble,
Interesting.
a bunch of these platforms.
I really need to look into all of
Yeah. We live streamed on YouTube,
I know.
and if we live streamed long enough, people could have got in and donated and
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah. You watched the TV show House?
A long time ago.
A long time
Have
ago.
you ever have you ever seen Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
I just started watching that.
Yeah, it's good. Good.
Have you ever seen The Office? You don't like The Office either, right?
No, I love The
Oh,
Office.
damn it.
Hell yeah, Office OP. So mad they took it off. Can't go to sleep now without that shit.
So I think I'm gonna cave and watch The Office.
You have to watch
I
The
think
Office.
it's the stupidest.
I thought it
frickin'
was
show.
the stupidest show too. For like, I didn't watch until I got like almost out of high school. But like all through high school, everyone's making these references. I don't get it. I see some memes. I think they're funny, and then I start watching it, and then like the first few episodes, I'm like, Michael is so fucking cringe. There's nothing hilarious about this. But you start to love his cringiness. You
Yeah.
start to like expect it. You start to want it. You start to like, you see him change too, and then that makes you upset because you're
Right.
like, no, where's the Michael that just comes in and moves everything off your desk and sits crisscross and then says, "How you doing, Jim?"
I don't know anything.
You know
you're
what I
talking
mean?
About. But Smitty tweeted something, and it got me thinking. Like maybe I should watch the show, and maybe you can understand what he means by
Okay.
this.
Throw it
so,
at me.
So he says, looking back as an adult, Jim is actually my least favorite character from The Office. His stares into the camera frighten me. The people in the TV shouldn't know we are watching them.
Yep, that's true. You know the best part about like that specific tweet too is if you've watched the bloopers, which I have, the bloopers of The Office are just as funny because when they started The Office, they actually brought in a bunch of people who were just working office jobs. And they were like, "What's your daily life like?"
Yeah.
And that's what they went off of. And it's like these actors took it beyond the limits because there is a certain point where if you were and it makes sense towards the end of the movie or the
Yeah.
end of the series because they actually show you the documentary because the whole show is about an office staff being part of a documentary.
Isn't it originally from like the UK?
Yes, it's a UK show.
Yeah.
Which I also couldn't get behind the UK show at all. It's just not
Big
the
fan
same.
of the UK.
You are?
Yeah.
I mean, I like
I like their music. I like their shows.
yeah, I like all that. I just this one particular, maybe not the shows. It's just some of their humor is too dry for me.
I don't know. I like it.
Too much of some tea and crumpets.
I mean, some of like I don't. Some of the movies are a little too much for me, but I like some of like a lot of the shows. I mean, think about it. Like you have some like what was it? It's not Shameless. Crap, I can't think of the show. But there's a show that I watch all the time, like consistently. That was like originally a UK show, and it's really popular in the US, and it was changed obviously in the US. But I still watch the UK version, and I keep wanting to say Shameless, but it's not Shameless. What is it? Something similar.
Yeah, you'll have to get back to me on that one.
Yeah. Have you
But-
seen Elite?
No.
It's a good show too.
But yeah, Office is a great show. House, I'm circling back to House because I started a while ago and now I'm starting to finish it.
Yeah.
One, it's a show that breeds reality. One, and I guess that's 1A because I've already said that. But to see all these crazy problems when you wake up and you're like, oh, should I have a headache? You're like, that guy was bleeding out of his nose yesterday or his ears and
Right.
fucking his eyes and he had fucking everything going wrong with him. I'm
Right.
good. You know, this guy had Ebola in the show and I'm like, hey, I'll take a sore hand any day or like a fucking bruised rib, whatever. After watching that show, I'll take anything.
Right.
Because that what they go through, or at least what they portray to go through, some of these patients, unreal.
Yeah.
You know, and so in like later on in the seasons, do you know who Cal Penn is? From Harold and Kumar.
Oh yeah.
He's Kumar.
Yeah.
So
I was like, I didn't know if you were referencing like a character in the show or like
that's his real name.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
it sounded familiar, but I wasn't like I couldn't put it together. But yeah.
So he starred in Harold and Kumar in 2004, 2007, and then later on, I think in 2011 with like the last one. He had a
Yeah.
bunch of movies all the way up to 2019. He left House to go work for Obama in the White House. Do you know that?
Mhm.
You did know that?
I did.
That blew my fucking mind. One, because he's an actor, not a politician.
He's really smart.
Yeah, no, and I 100% believe it.
Yeah,
Like, that
and
doesn't surprise me at all.
His degree is from like some crazy university.
Why I loved him in the House role, like him there made perfect sense to me, and his character, like that worked great. But they just killed him off.
Yeah.
He just killed himself. No one knows why. No one had any reason to suspect anything. He just dies one day randomly.
Right.
And I literally Google, I'm like, why did Kushner kill himself? And it literally says, oh, well, Cal Penn didn't want to work there anymore. He didn't want to continue on the office, so they just ended it.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. Like, that frustrated me.
That contracts end, you know?
That's
like,
bullshit.
What is the TV show supposed to? They can't anticipate that, you know?
No, but like, these actors have to know what they're getting us attached, and then they're just ripping us away.
I would say, well, let's just talk about it because you know a lot of like really funny. I mean, think about
And I'm not a huge Obama fan, so I'm not happy he went to work for Obama.
So like you know the guy from The Hangover, the Asian guy.
Yeah, he used to be a doctor.
Yeah.
Ken Jeong.
And you know his wife is like still a doctor.
Still a doctor.
Yeah.
Her name is Ho. No, seriously, her name is Ho. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's like Ho.
I've heard him say it in interviews.
Ho Jong.
I don't really remember. But like some of like the smartest and I hate, but some of the smartest people have like MIT degrees, Harvard degrees. What is it? Natalie Portman has like a gnarly degree in something. I forget what it is. Like when you have like these people, literally just.
Okay,
I don't know.
So they're smart people, so they should be able to understand when you're in a TV show for 3 seasons and people love you, and you just fucking decide to leave, people are gonna be upset.
Yeah, but what happens is, what if those people? That's not their. I mean, I don't know. I don't know these people, but who's to say that's acting's not their passion? They just happen to be good at it, and it's supporting them to their real passion. You know?
No, for sure. It's just a job. It's I
exactly.
can't be mad.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, it's like me getting upset that a hot dog cart is in a different location. It's like he's making money. I can't be mad. He didn't come back for one customer.
Right, and he's doing something bigger. Like I hate just. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Obama campaign.
I still believe Obama was a pedophile. A lot of silence there.
I don't like.
Okay, maybe he wasn't. Okay, I will retract my statement. But he was in close proximity with some people who like to fadiddle the young types.
I'm not saying that's not true. You never know what happens in politics, but I will say this: I'm a big fan of the Obamas. I'm a big fan of the Obama campaign, and I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, well, I mean, Pizzagate. So go do your research and you get back to me.
Hey. But see, I learned and I could again. I know that I'm biased because I learned political science during, that was my prime time. Was during that first Obama election. You know, that's when I started learning about it. You know, I started getting the talks like, hey, you're gonna vote soon. Like, you need to learn about all this stuff. So I learned about it. So and I just. So yeah, I am a little biased because before that, I had George Bush, and you heard all the horror stories, you know what I mean? So it's
I still believe George Bush was part of 9/11.
100%.
Yeah, but yeah, it's
100%.
It's a lot. It's harder to assume that Obama was peddling or peddling kids?
I mean, no. I mean, what?
Why is that so far different?
One is terrorism.
And one's human trafficking on a multi-billion-dollar level, which is also terroristic.
But has Obama ever been directly? Yes, the people around him, not saying. But the people in the office are messed up.
So one,
that Obama fam. No, I'm not.
I respect Obama because even if he is the evil villain in my head, he's a smart evil villain, and I have to respect the brain power. All right, because obviously he's never put him in a position to be caught that way. And also, he's very calculated. He has made comments about wanting to, be the puppet master. So, to me, these are all on trait for him.
Yeah.
But he's done a great job at staying out of that limelight. Or, maybe it's come out and he's just good at killing it when it gets, But, like, Pizzagate was a huge thing. That, I mean, at least from what I've done my research on, I believe it.
Why don't you explain to people who don't know what Pizzagate is?
So Pizzagate and I'm probably going to be so wrong on shit because this was a while ago. But correct me if I'm wrong.
I mean, I don't know all of it.
Now the people listening in the comments, if you know more about this than I do, feel free to leave a 3-paragraph essay of where I fucked up. Okay.
Or 5-paragraph. It's fine.
Ooh, not 4, though. If you 4, I'm not reading it.
Right.
So Pizzagate basically in the to make the long story short, was a restaurant that the White House would order pizza from. And there was either a basement where they would store these kids further down, and there would be a secret menu that people could order from. So one of these days, Obama has like a huge party, and it's not on his calendar. It's not like on the chief of staff's thing. It's like a secret thing.
Yep.
And they place an order, and it gets leaked that they place an order for like 59 hot dogs, like some weird things. And when you read the whole thing, it's like that's a weird order, even if you were ordering that food.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe, but no, it was a weird order. Right. To not have it on the calendar, like it's not like fucking White House party, right? So when the order gets leaked, and then later on there's like either hackers or whatever that divulge the information of like what that means.
Yeah.
It's like hot dogs for little children, a pizza pie is like a young adult female, like a young female adult, and then there's ones for like little girls, and it's all these things, and it's basically like him ordering all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's it. That's Pizzagate.
I mean,
the White House ordering fucking
yeah, but you can't.
Children.
You can't say it's okay. So like, you can't say it's children because it could very well just be prostitutes.
Also, still a problem.
Whatever. I'd rather it be a prostitute than a child. But you look at I mean, don't going off topic here. Going back to like the human trafficking and ordering people, but like look at Wayfair. If you look at, like, I know there's, like, the huge scandal behind Wayfair, and, like, even...
ordering a dresser.
They've even tracked it back to Amazon.
Really?
Yes. If you deep dive, I've watched, like, there was this guy who, like, did it.
Well, it doesn't surprise me because all it is an interface. As long as it's close sale, super hard to find, like, it's called SOC or SEO or whatever, like, your something search like results, like, how well are you, search result optimization or something like that. And, they can make something that's so difficult to find that like you could even Google it directly and it won't show up. But like if you have the hard link, it will pull up and you'll be able to order it and people will share it around and people are just ordering shit. But like we all looked over the Epstein thing. No one's focused on Epstein anymore.
Right.
The guy obviously did not kill himself. Somehow Ghislaine didn't die. Yet people on the list didn't get exposed. None of that makes sense.
Yeah.
No one cares anymore. But no one's going, okay, so before Epstein died, there was a shit about, human trafficking and young, inappropriate things going on. It ties to the White House. It ties to high corporate people.
A lot of high corporate people.
And then it's just like, nope, that's fake. Oh, this guy comes out, whole island. They raided everything, but they didn't find anything. And, oh, now he's dead. And, oh, the wife doesn't know anything. Oh, there's a list. We're not telling anybody. And it's all over, folks. Like,
right.
let's all focus on this Kyle Rittenhouse kid who just shot black people, which wasn't even true. So it's like this whole thing is just so obvious. And you bring up your political social, or your, what you call it, your political science.
Political science.
Your political science class. I'm still a firm believer that you're just programmed, like the school, and it really depends on your teachers too, because I do feel that the school does give curriculum options to the teachers. They allow them to follow, like, you can pull up some books that an English teacher can just pick out of a list.
I would say no matter what, they have to follow a curriculum.
Yes, but it's their choice off of a very large embankment,
I was
right?
gonna say it's a pretty broad topic.
It doesn't mean that the broad spectrum isn't or filtered down to still serve some agenda,
Right.
but there's still choice there. So I leave that up to the teacher and their type of, like, where they fall in the political line and how they
Style of teaching.
exactly, because if you get someone who is more right leaning, they're obviously going to lean towards more right leaning stuff.
Yeah.
But that also opens up the left and the middle. And so, like, in certain schools, you get a very good mixture, and you get students who come from all walks because of those teachers.
Yeah.
There are also other schools that have the same freaking stuff, the same curriculum, the same, and people are just coming out there, like the people that pump out lawyers, like the schools that pump out lawyers like that.
Yeah.
They are just copying and pasting the same shit. Not saying lawyers aren't great, but that's basically programming. You're
Well, I mean, the law is the law. Like, you kind of went with a bad example on the
I
lawyers.
I did.
You could have done a little bit better with
But-
maybe like doctors or something, because the law is the law. That is copy and paste.
Well, even the medical law is the medical law. So, like, in both rights though, but they're going through such a systematic training to get them to believe one way that, like, when you watch House, where this doctor does some crazy or unorthodox things,
Yeah.
you're thinking he would have never got that way by actually following the medical law completely.
Absolutely not.
But yet, in a certain situation, he's the hero for hundreds of people, thousands of people.
Yeah, and it's also sad because you see a lot of people that do that, and they save a patient's life,
They get fucked.
and they get
Lose their license and everything.
Yep. And it's sad.
So it just comes back to me, like, I think there is a huge benefit to, like, a school that promotes not division. What's the word I'm looking for? Diversity
Yeah.
in mindset, not just diversity in people. Like,
I can see that.
it was huge for us because, again, like I said earlier, we grew up in a predominantly white town. It was huge for us when we had Salem kids come over, and there was like, oh,
That was a really big deal.
the diversity in the school has changed. We have now a 15, 30 to whatever range and all this other shit. And
We
I'm
got
just
them
like,
cow tippers. Got them farm kids.
but, like, in the end, it was great to have more people at the school.
Right.
There was no one was out there
And
caring
hey,
what they looked like,
you
who they
married
were.
a Salem girl.
I married a Salem girl, right? Like, that's the great part about it. Like, I liked it brought people together.
Yeah.
Right, and it didn't have to be so focused on, like, the black and white of it. It just
Yeah.
needed to be focused on, like, again, the curating interesting and perspective minds.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
I like
you know,
that.
and I don't think a lot of schools do that, and I don't think colleges do that nowadays either. I don't think a single college will physically, at least in its entirety, again, unless you get that really special teacher who, like, invests in you to grow that.
Yeah.
I think everyone that just comes out and follows the basic regimen is a copy and paste of what
mean,
society is wanting you to be.
There are still teachers who that do take their curriculum, and again, it's different from the basic copy and paste, but like you said, like, I had a teacher who literally kicked me out of class. It was a college professor. It was a history class, and she made us listen to the Dixie Chicks song, and we had to write a report on it, and it was about, like, the Bush administration and that stuff. And I refused to do that. Why? Because the song is one-sided. You know what I mean? And she made it very clear that the Dixie Chicks were right in what they said, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, I didn't agree with, and it wasn't just me. There was a couple other kids in my class, but she pretty much wanted us to write a one-sided paper. And I wasn't going to write that. And she kicked me out of class. I ended up
Yeah.
dropping that class because I knew that I was never going to get, and she, I mean, honestly, the teacher was very honest. She was like, I will never pass you. Because
But that's,
she
like,
was
vindictive at that point.
exactly, but that was because she was
against-
so right-sided that, like, she wasn't, like, seeing anything else. You know what I mean? And, like, again, it was. I think it was like it wasn't a. It was. I can't remember the class, but it was like it was a history class, but it also had to do with like a little bit of political science. You know what I mean? So it was like a
Civics or
yeah, but it was like a history. It was like a political history science class. You know,
Hmm.
like it was the history of it. You know, like we
Yeah.
went into how
Political
like
history.
yeah, well, and it was like how like um the difference between like democracy and like monarchy, and it wasn't
Yeah, that
just
would probably been civics.
well, it was college. It wasn't, but
Oh
I
yeah,
forget what the name of it was. But it
probably
was
got like 3 names in it. It's like
exactly. It was like world, U.S.
civil justice of history in America.
Correct. Yeah, but no, and yeah, she was very, and it was. I was really that, and I was really disappointed because I was so excited for that class that year because like I loved history, I loved the poli sci aspect of it. I loved digging deeper into all of that, and to find out that my teacher was just so one sided,
Messed up.
and it was just like you know and like the shitty part is because I was an athlete, right? And I actually heard about her class from other athletes. People are like, take her class, it's so easy. Why is it so easy? Why they thought it was so easy? All you have to do is agree with her.
Yeah, shake your head up and down and move on.
Correct. Write the essays she wants you to write and you'll get an easy A. But I'm not that person.
Yeah.
Like I'm sorry.
We don't follow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you know that happened to me in high school?
your computer teacher.
Yeah, yeah.
I still tell people about this story.
I find that
I tell everybody about this story actually.
so the irony about the whole outcome of this story, and I'll tell the story in a second, is that she ended up changing the entire programming curriculum to Google.
Yep.
Which is what she prevented me from doing, which I thought was so funny. So like when I came back and I was like, "Oh, you've moved to this now. Interesting."
And of course, you would not let her live it down.
No, it's so
that
fucking
poor
hilarious.
teacher.
And she was new too, which is
I know.
like looking back, I really kind of
she
regret
probably hated her life.
it was rough for her.
She went home and she was like, "That fucking kid."
So I didn't really make her miserable. It wasn't about that. It was
no,
about
you just made her feel stupid.
well, there was Mason Bogart in that class too, which I will say anyone around Mason will feel stupid because he was a young prodigal. He was a kid that in freshman year had already been making hundreds of thousands of dollars from an app.
I will say this: that is one thing that I hated about growing up in East Lyme is there were so
Prodigies
many
every
prodigies.
fucking where.
Oh my god!
Music, art, programming, fucking just people who were too good at good, like the
Like,
goody two shoes were just everywhere.
I feel like we were smart, but we were dumb in that school. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like in the real world, people are like, "Oh my god, you're so smart." I'm like, dude, you didn't even see half the kids I went to school
we had
with.
some tryhards.
Like we had Max, who was like in Yale by the age of 10. We had so many prodigies.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
we had like one kid who came out who could like went to play like in a extremely like renowned orchestra.
Matt, I think it's Max.
Is
The one
it?
in my grade.
Um,
Max Tan. I just didn't want to say his name, like, but he's probably super famous.
Does he play
now.
the flute?
Plays violin.
Violin. No, there was someone else who came out. I think it was a girl actually.
Okay.
And I think she came out playing the flute, and she got like front chair on a flute in a huge orchestra. And I remember it was like all in the stupid little high school
Yeah.
news blip that you have that it was like, freshmen's got to meet this person, and
Yeah.
that was her last year, and she's now doing this, and how great we've created such great students. And I'm just like, way to showboat your one
Right.
lucky star.
I remember there was one time. So there's this kid in my grade, like one of the. He's probably like one of the best music prodigies that touched down in Connecticut, and or anywhere. Honestly, he was of the Asian descent, so that surprises anybody. But I remember
Racist.
right? But I remember one time, like he was trying out for like it was a professional orchestra, right? And I remember he was like he got to skip all of his classes,
Yep.
like electives
Special
and stuff
treatment.
because he had to practice. And so like and I remember it was and I didn't do music at all, but for some reason I was in the music hall that week or whatever, and I ran into him and he was like crying, and I was like, "Oh, what happened?" He was like, like I didn't make your first or second chair. He was like, I'm in the second row or whatever. You know what I mean?
You're still playing in the fucking orchestra.
And I was like, "Oh my god, that's so awesome!" And he got so angry at me. He was like, "No, I can't go home and tell my parents this." And I was just
Yeah.
and he got mad at me, and I was like, bro, that's your own personal problem. Like, that sounds like you got too much pressure in your life. Like, I don't know what that feels like to have that much pressure. However, I'm not, but I tried to comfort him. I was like, oh my God, good job. Like, no, it's okay. Like, you're only 14 years old. Like, you got plenty of time left, dude. And he was just like, no, this is unacceptable. And I was just like, that's what I get for trying to comfort.
I partly picture you in a movie skit aspect where you flip and you're like, okay, listen, Jackie Chan, you're not gonna sit here and yell at me. I'm trying to make you feel better about your sorry ass sitting in second row, you piece of shit. Should have done better.
Well, the thing was so not a lot of people. Max was kind of a funny guy, but not a lot of people knew
different.
that because
They
he was so serious all the time. But when he would crack a joke, and not a lot of people understood his jokes, but me, super nerd over here, I understood them just fine. He would make we'd be in math class, and he would make the teacher would say something, and he would make a math pun, and I would start dying laughing, and everyone would be like, Jordan, what's wrong with you? You just laughed at me.
You fucking nerd.
And I was like, dude, that was actually funny. So I know, I fucked with him. He was cool. But yeah, it was crazy. It was so silly because granted, I never actually went to school. I was very smart. It was so I don't know. And maybe if we went to a different high school, I could have done way better. But again, when you're surrounded, when you're not as smart as everybody else, you know what I mean?
Hard to stand out.
It's exactly. And it's you look at I remember my senior year, you know how they put all the graduating people, they put where they're going to college once they've committed. And it's everybody in my graduating class was Ivy League, everybody. And then you see me New England College, and everyone's like, oh, where's that?
Up near a mountain.
Right, it's a giant party school in New Hampshire, but it's got a great sports program. But
yeah,
it was just crazy because what's the point? Again, I was in AP Physics.
Yeah.
Right, and what's the point?
Yeah.
I was in AP Physics with freaking 10th graders. Yeah. As a senior,
which is so weird.
What's the, you know what I mean? That's the thing. Again, I was in.
You're on good track for normal people, and they're just fucking flying.
That's what I'm saying. So it's what's the point? And again, I was doing all these classes. It's not like I didn't know. I just never went. Why am I sitting here competing with somebody who's 2 years younger than me?
Yeah.
Why can't we just let kids be kids? You know what I mean? I was a big supporter. Just let them. You know what I mean?
When you're in high school, you're becoming an adult. You gotta learn that shit quick.
I mean, I get that, but here's the thing. One thing I loved about East Lyme, and I still it's a big selling factor for East Lyme, but they had a lot of electives. So in my mind, that allowed kids. And again, me being naive then, knowing a little bit more now, it's more just a control thing. But I saw that as oh my God, they care about, they're not just teaching us, oh, we're going to put out strictly oh, we've got just a science program or just a music program or just, it's not just, it was a variety of things. We had computer, we had a great workshop program. You know what I mean? I had my birth to 3. We had a whole family.
Yeah. For not being a tech school, we had a good portion of tech electives.
Yes. And we had a great art program, some of we had a great music, everything was great.
Yeah.
That was the problem. It's there were so many electives. And again, when I was younger, I thought that was a really cool thing because, in East Lyme, well, not all people, but
sounds like you took it for granted.
Exactly. Well, and again, because you have a choice where we were from, you had a choice where you could go to a tech school because we had so many surrounding tech schools. So you kind of had an option of 3 high schools in a sense.
Yeah, the marine biology, Groton.
Correct. You could go to Groton, Ledger, or East Lyme, which was our home base. And when I was looking at, and I really did a lot of research into those 3 high schools because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but I had a feeling, and I like to learn a little bit about everything. So that's why I went with East Lyme. I would have been better off going to probably Groton or Ledger. Maybe not Ledger. Ledger was a bunch of delinquents.
Yeah, Ledger definitely had its issues.
Yeah, but I would have done better going to Groton.
Yeah.
Because they purposely, and I'm all about if you're smart, go for it. But for me personally, in AP Physics as a senior, what I'm supposed to be in, that's considered a smart level class.
Yeah, and sophomores are in it.
And sophomores. Half my class was sophomores.
Yeah, that's how I felt. I never took chemistry, and everyone was in chemistry, and I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I know elements, but I don't.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You guys making drugs in there? What the fuck?
Literally. Oh my God, my favorite was there was a teacher who literally didn't even want me in his class. He was like, she's just not gonna show up. I know she's smart, but I just don't want her. It's like, that's fair.
If you're not going to show up, then why does he care?
Because his class was like mostly attendance,
Mm.
you know, and he didn't like to fail people. So,
Yeah.
but what do we have for time?
We're about an hour.
Sweet.
You cut me off on my story.
I'm sorry.
Yep. Now no one gets to hear it.
Shit.
Yep. They're all gonna wonder. Whoa, what happened with Zach? We heard the outcome, but what happened? It's all your fault.
You want to tell the story?
Nope. Everybody put hate in the comment for Joe for that.
My bad.
Nope. That one's going to the grave. But yeah, we did an hour. We forgot to create an intro, so we're gonna have to create an intro now, and we're gonna have to add it up. But hey, we'll get it done.
It's fine.
Yeah, nice little hour podcast talking about just
anything and everything.
Just chatting.
Right.
Yeah, we gotta get Darren on here. I think Darren would be a good thing. I think we need to figure out what we want to do. If we pivot into like starting this about golf and having this be like documenting our journey to golf.
Yeah. Maybe you could teach me how to golf.
I can't teach how to golf. I'm a terrible teacher.
Maybe
I barely know how to golf either.
Maybe you could teach me some of the knowledge at least. Some of the key words, the points.
Well, I mean, you'll learn that if you become a filmer. Like if you part of what I was hoping Megan would do is become like the videographer and start doing that. My problem is videography is hard.
It is.
Like it's not easy to get the perfect shot and
it's
know
a
where people need
legit
to stand.
profession.
It is, you know. So it's like I'm toying with the thought of like trying to get someone to full-time edit, pay them, you know, a certain amount of money per video with a deadline of 3 days after we send it to them, and that way we can be consistent. I'd love to be able to have Par for Poppy be a full-time thing to where we can spend 1 week a month going to a place to film 12 videos just to be able to post those 12 videos, 3 videos a week for that entire month.
Yeah. To
be able to really get a schedule going on that and improve and get followers, and that will help us with the events, and you know, if we can get big enough, we can do like team games with other YouTubers. We can do a bunch of stuff, and
that'd be really cool.
You know, this podcast could turn into being a documentation for that, and then once we're big, like then we can really spiral onto a bunch of other stuff because we already have the listeners. We already have people who want to know about what we do.
People invested already.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And it would be easier to be like, okay, what did we do today? Today we got talks with, you know, golf courses, what we're planning. You know, we could just do like measly stuff, and maybe it doesn't have to all be about golf, but you know, I think that would be a good way to start it. And I'd love to go hard. Like I would love to fucking
absolutely
take a fucking month off from work and just
I would love to see you try.
Yeah, I'd have to quit.
You would literally have to quit.
Yep. But yeah, I think it would be really interesting because like I think that's the one thing I do regret like growing up is never taking a sport to a professional.
It's because you couldn't commit. We tried, mofo. We tried. We put you in every. I say we, like my parents put him every sport, but I was your cheerleader the whole way. I tried.
Yeah, for sure. But like
I was like, Zach, you're way more
great in. Like,
and you just could never stick it out. You were great at basketball. You were great at football.
I just think their football was weird.
Dude, this kid. Hold on. Can we just say that this kid literally didn't try out, didn't do anything. Had the coach was like, "Hey, you want to come play football for the high school team?"
It's just athletic.
It was unfair. I worked for everything.
Captain of the ping pong team.
Ooh.
That was fun too. You know how hard it is to become captain of the ping pong team?
You gotta fight a bunch of Asians.
Dude, literally. And they're cutthroat.
They are. They're scary people.
Dude, you know how many of those kids I sent home crying to their parents? They're like, I disappointed you.
I know. Honestly, that was actually, I remember that.
Who was that? What was the name of the guy from the original Karate Kid? Daniel. Wasn't it Daniel-san?
Daniel-san, yes.
I was the Daniel-san of ping pong.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, I was doing so good. You know, and that's really thanks to Dad. You know, Dad, Poppy, they were the ones that really. I didn't play ping pong with Poppy, but Poppy bred it into Dad. Dad bred that right into me.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, you know, I wish I would have.
You know where the ping pong thing came from?
What do you mean?
Like why Poppy got into playing ping pong?
I know he had one at his house, and he'd invite people over, and they'd play in the driveway or whatever.
Well, yeah, and when he was, Coast Guard. You used to play it
Oh,
all the time. You play
yep.
it.
They had that on the boats.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, but super cool. Well, all right, everybody. This was episode 10, Just Chatting. Thank you for
Numero
listening.
10.
My name is Zach,
I'm Joe.
and you have a good night.
Have a great evening.
Bow.
Bye.